Oh, hello everybody. How you doing today? I'm Sean James, and this is Kentucky, the MiniTruck state. In today's video, we're gonna have a lot of fun together. We're gonna hang out, we're gonna learn a few things, we're gonna try some stuff. Try to figure out a few different things with the speaker box for Jayce. But before we can get into it, we gotta get ready for work. So, let's get ready to work. Much better. Let's get at it. What is up, everyone? I'm Sean James, and this is Kentucky, the MiniTruck state. On this week's video, we're still working on that little speaker enclosure for Jayce, Moreland. He's supposed to come out tomorrow evening, so I'm going to go ahead and kind of get a jump start on a few things. But before we get into that, I want to make sure to say thank you to everybody who's been subscribing. We are currently at 1,150 subscribers, which is just amazing. I'm so excited. We're doing great. We're keep growing every week. Last week's video did really good. There just weren't many comments and stuff, so I need you guys to comment on the video. That helps the most. Comments, interactions, liking, and all that good stuff. That's what helps pushes the channel out there farther. So if you guys start doing that, I really would appreciate it. Like I said, this week we're working on Jayce's speaker enclosure. We have a few ideas as far as like trying to dress it up. I'm going to give him a few ideas of my own and then let him pick tomorrow what he wants to do. Some of you guys may have noticed over on Facebook, I've been posting kind of sneaky pictures. I said we got a new logo, and then on Wednesday, I posted a Where Are You From Wednesday, and had a picture on there. Well, those two designs are going to be shirts for this channel. I'm not going to be selling them. I'll be giving them away more than likely. I've had some people reach out about wanting to buy some. Maybe in the future, once I can figure out how, a way to streamline it, make it easier on myself. Right now, I'm using Ninja transfers to make the designs. I use Google Gemini to actually make the logos myself, and then went to Ninja transfers to actually get the DFTs for the shirts. So I haven't pressed any yet. Lowenbroke, I think that's what his name is, was the first one to comment on my last video, Kentucky the MiniTruck state shirts. And then Donnie from Complete Upholstery down in Georgia, he was the second one. So those two guys are going to get two shirts. One will get the Nissan shirt, one will get the Mazda shirt. We'll get those sent out next week. I still have to get the stuff for the giveaway to the last 3 people. They're still sitting on the bench. I just haven't taken time. I'm going to do it here in just a minute, and so I get it out tomorrow. I know I said the last video, I've been terrible about putting it off. We've had a lot going on this week, so I've been kind of held up. But anyway, but like I said, y'all saw the new designs. These two here. We got the Mazda and the Nissan. And again, those were done on Google Gemini, so they're not perfect, but they're pretty cool. They turned out really neat. I'm real happy with them, so at least we have something going forward. I've been waiting on a friend for over a year to get a design. He never did get anything, so I just decided to kind of do it myself. And there we are, so we got it. Again, this week we're going to be playing with the speaker box. I said it twice now. Back here you can kind of see what the design he has kind of going on, what he likes. But I'm going to try and spice it up a little bit. So let me get you guys set up, and we'll kind of go over what we're going to do, how we're going to do it. And just a few tips on how to make these types of panels. Basically, these are just beauty panels to decorate the box a little more so it's not just a flat square box. Give it a little bit of character to it. And it's not really that hard to do. Something you can kind of play with. The box is built out of 3/4 inch MDF. And these panels we're going to make are going to be made out of 1/8 inch Luan. Any kind of, or 1/4 inch Luan, I'm sorry. Any kind of cornice plywood will work. We're going to be wrapping the top of the vinyl and the back and sides with carpet. So all we got to do is make sure and get the vinyl tucked around where we want it. And with this stuff, you can emboss it a little bit, do some really cool designs and stuff like that. So that's kind of the plan. But first I got to get the sheet cut down to 54 inches. The box itself is 56. And as you can see, he likes this, have this kind of this round around it to kind of break it up. So what we're going to do is we're going to rip it down to 54 inches. That'll leave us 1 inch on each side. And then we'll go on the table saw, we'll rip it for how wide we want it to be. And I think it's 14.5. We'll check it, set the chop on the table saw, rip it through. Be a whole lot easier to rip it through, cut down, than trying to do it in a 4-foot piece, and then we're gonna waste a whole bunch cut off anyway. So this way we can cut it off. We can save like that much of it for other stuff. So let me go ahead and get you guys set up. We'll get that stuff cut off and we'll get into it. So like I said, we got this set up here. We're gonna cut it at 54 inches. And again, one thing I always do is I set my saw depth just slightly deeper than the piece we're cutting. And that way you're not destroying your sawhorses, you're not destroying your pieces. It has less rip through on the back side. So I use this piece of aluminum angle iron to mark my line, and now I can cut that by hand. If you don't feel comfortable doing that, you can clamp that down and use that as a guide to cut your line, but I've cut this enough that I'm not too worried about cutting it straight. I know I can do it. So let's go ahead and get this cut down, then we'll set the table saw up and cut it up. Look at the old Nissan just sitting outside wanting to be driven. So the head unit has finally completely crapped out. I had a guy come over this weekend to pick up his keychain and his bottle opener. And I had an issue. Oh, where's my tape measure? There it is. His name is Mike. Can't remember his last name is. I'll post it here. I'll look it up here in just a second. 18 3/4. That's what we got. Anyway, I was getting like I said the Nissan to have a demo. While he's sitting in there, I started the truck and the head unit wouldn't even turn on. Felt kind of not embarrassed, but felt bad. I was wanting to let him sit in there and check it out, and it wouldn't work. So, sorry, buddy. Try and get you on the next one. 18 3/4. We'll check it with table saw with the tape measure. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make 2 of these panels. We'll use this one as kind of a pattern. Then I'm going to make one that's a little bit different than this. I'm going to leave one kind of blank that he can play with. This is just taped here. This is made out of scraps. That's why we're making new ones. It was just kind of a rough cut really quickly, so it's not straight anywhere. That's why it looks the way it does. But I want to get it figured out. Then once we get it figured out, what we'll do is we'll take it and staple it and glue it and staple it down. We'll feather the edges. That way roll the stuff over to look really, really cool. So, but I've got some ideas. Let's see how it works out. But let's go ahead and get this ripped down. Like I said, the 2 pieces, we'll have a little bit left over. And maybe we can even emboss some stuff on top of this, make it look really, really neat. It has 2 or 3 different layers, really make it look cool. Luckily, this stuff is light enough that it's not that hard to handle by yourself. Run this down. Again, I don't like having a lot sticking over. How many of you guys have been around long enough to remember when this didn't work like that? I had subscribers complain that I couldn't get the blade to go up and down, and you guys made me fix it. I appreciate it. Some of you guys have been around for a long time. It's been over a year already, been over a year at it. All right, now that we have that cut, we'll lay this one up here. We'll take his pattern, we'll lay it on here. Yeah, you can definitely tell it was brushed on, so. What I want to do is copy these corners. We'll copy this profile. Same thing over here and get it set. These circles are going to get cut inside of this because I want this for the sub to actually sit on it. We just roughly trimmed it out so the subs could sit in the box to kind of help us center it up, but we'll do that real quick. See, I think we use, what do we use? I think we use a paint can. We got that same paint can right here. Well, these will do the corners. So what we want to do is set the top, mark the curves. I'm going to mark that, but we'll remark those as well because that was kind of a rough cut. Well, that'll give us a rough idea of what we want there. And these curves can be made with anything. We just like the way these looked, so that's what we went with. You can use a roll of tape, you can use a grinding wheel, you can use a paint can. Really anything that you like the radius of, so. This is just a basic design here. I think we use this roll of tape, if I'm not mistaken, to these other ones. Oh yeah, that was it. So mark there. All right, so all we gotta do now is connect those lines. Take that. Hi-ya. Then this time we cut it out, we'll take our time a little bit more. But again, we're also just playing with what this design is. This isn't gonna be, I don't know if he'll like it, if he won't like it, but it's his enclosure, so he gets to decide. I'm just trying to help him out, come up with some new ideas. So that's roughly what he had. We can mark the subwoofer holes here. I think what I'm gonna do is just take the subs, actually set the subs on there, and then just trace them around that way. Then we'll measure and make sure we have them in the right spot before we mark them. Because we want to have the same distance off the bottom. About 3/4. Excuse me. And this part just has to be close because we're going to end up cutting this out with a flush trim bit into the box. So we'll actually just cut this undersize and then match it up exactly with that. We just want this on here now for reference with how we want to do our lines. Again, this is just kind of my idea, what I would like to do. If he doesn't like it, we'll do something else for sure. So as you can see, just drawn on there. It's hard to tell now. So what I want to do from there is basically come around and make a perimeter around all this stuff to give it kind of a 3D raised effect around that, and possibly have something go around the sub or stay away from the sub. We'll just play with some lines. But like I've shown you guys in the past, what I like to do is rip down strips to a couple different widths, and then just play with those lines and see if they look like, see if I like them or not. Typically like 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches is usually pretty good. Anything over that seems a little bit too wide. So we'll play those measurements first. We'll take some scrap out of my little tote over here, rip it down to the width we want, and then we'll just lay it down, mark it out, and just see what it looks like. And again, this is gonna be our panel to play with. The other one over there is the one he can play with. The ones we had, I said they were just to get an idea of what we want. This is kind of see what we can get away with. So I got a few little ideas. I'd really like to do, I told him I'd like to do like a little Kentucky logo and put it like right here in the center. Like cut out a small Kentucky logo, maybe I can print one, cut it with a jigsaw. That'd be kind of neat. Maybe we can do that. And we'll just put it in the center of the box. That way my YouTube channel has a way for advertising. But anyway, let me get that piece ripped down, and then I'll kind of show you the next step that I do. All right, so now, he talked about on the original box, I'm gonna show you here real quick, what he had drawn up is he liked like a little pocket right there at the top. And so what I want to do is basically take this and copy it, but have it go down, and then basically have this come back around, and then find a way to incorporate something around the speaker there. So what we'll do is get you set up here where you can see. And I'm sorry if you can't see it really well. I don't want to do super hard lines because this stuff does mark up really, really easily. So what we'll do is like we've done before, is we'll just take and go around and mark this everywhere. Just to get an idea of what it's going to look like. And this can be any width you want. There's no saying it has to be anything. So let your imagination run wild with it. And then, like I said, once we go by the subwoofer, where the sub's at, it's definitely gonna hit the sub. So we're gonna figure out a way to get around it as well. But that's something we're gonna play with. So we'll just mark it all the way across there. That way we have our lines all the way around. And then again, we'll use the same can, mark the corners. And that might not look right. We don't know. We might have to do something different. But for right now, we'll just mark it. See how it looks. We might not even use it down here, but that's okay. We'll go ahead and mark it. All right. So now that we've got that kind of drawn out, Grinder TV has a new video up. I'll have to check it out here in just a minute. So we like the way he had this drawn up here. So what we might do is just find a way to pull that together, work on that subwoofer, which I kind of like the way that this looks. I think it's really cool. Maybe we can come around this 1.5 inches as well. And then the sub can sit in it and it'll have a little step around it. That'd be kind of neat. And a way that we can do that is we could use our perfect circle jig for our router. Measure this, figure out what size that circle needs to be, and actually use it to cut what we want to mark it with. That way we get a perfect circle to cut out later. I may do that. I think I've got enough. Yeah, I've got enough. I can cut some stuff out of this. I can actually cut it out of cardboard if I wanted to. Cardboard. I got that thick cardboard from TV that would work, so we may do that. I don't like the way this looks. This is off over here. There we go. And again, this is just playing with, we could go down to like 1.25 inches and make it a little bit narrower. That might actually look better so it's not so thick, but I don't know, it's just giving us ideas. So, and even at that, we could take and just cut this down, or that would run the subwoofer, the subset down there. That wouldn't be a problem, then just let the sub sit on that, but I don't know, we'll figure something out. I do like the idea of opening that up, and that way everything's kind of got that same symmetry to it. Or we could take and come across, have this come over and just come down and have the same thing and just have it die into this down here and then just leave all this raised. I think that'd be kind of neat. We know that the sub stops here. So let's just go the same distance from here down, this 3/4. We'll measure up 3/4 from there. We'll just draw a line straight across there. We'll see how that looks. And that's the idea, just play with it. Think, whatever comes to your head, if you think you might like it, why not try it, you know what I mean? So there's 3/4. There's our straight edge. And then what we'll do is we'll come 3/4 off it over here and let that line come back down by it. All right, so what we want to do is measure off this one. It's right at 2 inches. So we'll come up here, we'll mark 2 inches. Exactly the same. I missed that line. Geez, Sean, come on, bud. You can do better than that. Let's see. Actually, I think that lines up better with the layout on this backside. So let's go with that one. All right, so we'll just do the same thing. That needs to be the big one. Let me think here. We need to make that the same radius as this. If we don't, that's going to look weird. That's fine. We can play that for right now. So this is just a general idea of what we're going to do. Let me grab a subwoofer. We'll just use the sub to mark it. And that way we know we've got the same curve. Do the same thing over here. So that's, y'all can't see it very well, but I have a pretty good idea what I want to do here. So basically this section here, let's see, I think we'll come back to this line. We'll take this completely out, that way we have that width there. Come over, cut down here, we'll move this line back to here. And what I'd like to do is cut most of this with a skill saw. That way I can cut it really nice and straight. Let's see, this line here. So this will get cut out. And we'll see what it looks like. All right, maybe now you get kind of see what I was thinking a little bit better. I think it looked pretty cool. I've got a little sanding block over here that we'll take and touch up some of it with as we need to. We're not too worried about it right now. Honestly, we just want to get it into the box and see how it's going to look. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these holes quite a bit undersized, and so we can put it on the box, mark it from the inside, and get an exact cut to those holes. That way we put the speakers in, it fits right to it. So yeah, I like it. Let me get that done real quick and we'll come right back. All right, as you can see, I made a mistake. Not too proud to admit it. Got a little jigsaw happy. That's okay. The sub's gonna hide it and it won't affect anything, so it's not one of those no harm, no foul kind of deals. Now I wish I had a compressor, a good compressor. The one I have is really small, so it's not going to help this out a whole lot. See what it looks like. That's a good fit. I might go ahead and just put a couple screws just to hold that in there. Just put one maybe, just to make sure that I like the way it looks when it's set up. So we will cheat. Through the center. Pretty dang close. Let me find a drill. I think it's in my truck. So one thing I always like to do is pre-drill my holes, so I don't have to worry about stabbing the subwoofer. So what I'm gonna do is just pre-drill just a little bit. Same thing over here. That dust always gets my nose. Birch dust, or the plywood dust. The MDF isn't so bad, but this stuff is awful. All right. Find my short screws. They're back here. We'll just put 2 in each one for right now. There's ever more nerve-wracking time when you put the screws in the subs. You're always afraid you're gonna poke a hole in them. But as you can see, by pre-drilling them, even just a little bit, it helps the screws start straight. There you go. So now we can see what it's going to look like standing up. All right, you ready for the reveal? Let's see what she looks like. So yeah, I think that'd be pretty neat. And again, we can play with it a little bit more, depending on what he wants to do. I think it looks pretty cool. We'll definitely dress it up a little bit more. And so the plan is, I'll come in with my sander, hand sander, flatten all that stuff out, fix it, clean all that stuff up. And then what I want to do is sand this all at an angle, so it kind of flows into that. And then once we do that, we'll glue it and staple it down all the way around. And then we'll put vinyl on top of that. So, and again, that's just a piece of 1/8 inch or 1/4 inch Luan. You can do any design you want to. You can dress up any way you want to. You can make anything you want to out of it. So, yeah. That looks pretty neat. All we need to do is get a little Kentucky logo right there in the center. I might play with that here in a minute. We'll see. So, what do you guys think? Comment down below. Do you like it? Do you hate it? You think it's dumb? You think it's cool? Did you learn something? Was it handy? Was it helpful? Hopefully. We're not doing that again. We're not doing that whole hopefully thing. That was embarrassing. I started editing that and I was like, what the heck is wrong with me? But anyway, what do you guys think? Do you like it? You think it's cool? You think it'll work? I am gonna round over the top edges and these sides, the bottom, all the edges around here. We'll get just rounded over and that'll finish it out, make it look really, really good. But yeah, I'm happy with that. Hopefully Jayce likes it. If not, we can do something else. We have a whole other piece. Like I said, we got it cut over there. He can play with, come up with his own idea, his own design. If he likes this, we can go with that. If not, I'm fine with it. I think this piece was $16. And I can use the rest of that for other patterns and stuff like that. This is actually the same stuff I used when I did my 3-link. I laid it out on the truck. I taped it together. I took it to Jared at Huey's Fab Shop, and I made him a jig for the rear, where the rear end was at, to my brackets up to the front, and he made the wishbone for me. And so you can use this stuff for anything. You just have to be creative with how you want to do it, how you want to try and figure it out. So, but yeah, this may be the end of the video. I don't know. We may do a little bit of recording with Jayce tomorrow, kind of get his perspective on it, see kind of what he thinks. If he wants to change some stuff, we can definitely do that. If he wants to ask some stuff, we can do that too. So we're really getting to a point where it's about ready to start finishing it up. We had a pretty good idea also for running the power of the ground into this box so you can't see it. So this edge and this bottom edge actually sit on a shelf and it's open underneath it. So what we thought about doing is get a piece of 1-inch EMT and actually drilling a hole in the bottom of the box and routing it up and turning it and having it come over to where you can push your power, your ground, and all that stuff into this side. And then that way it's not coming through the box and you can hide it and then you can access it when you take this panel off. So that's kind of the idea there. We haven't decided yet. It's one of the ideas that we had. Kind of neat idea. And we can do the same thing for the RCAs. Put a hole on the other side, have it come up and in the same way. That way the power and ground don't have to run, or the RCA and the power don't have to run together. So we can play with it. We can kind of see what it does. But anyway. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up tonight. It is now about 10:30. It's late. When I got done cleaning the garage earlier, I went outside and I was gonna burn some stuff, but it's a little bit windy. And so I ran my leaf blower for about an hour in the dark with a flashlight. I'm sure my neighbors love me, but it'll be all right. It's not as bad as grinding and making wreck it. We need to paint that. What color does that truck need to be? We need to paint it, make it look cool. Maybe do like a really cool flame job tip to tail. I'd love to do that. That'd be really fun. That'd be a fun video. Do a little body work, take some stuff off. Maybe make some plywood wheels for it to kind of fill it in. That would be really cool too. We can do that too. So anyway, all right. We'll either catch you tomorrow or we'll end the video here in just a minute. And that looks like that's going to be the end of this week's video. So Jayce came out tonight. We worked on a speaker box. It is currently underneath all this stuff. We got the edges routed. We got the box glued together. We got everything screwed together. We've got
the face glued on, and I told him we probably need to let that dry. That way we can try and get it wrapped tomorrow. Tomorrow night, so we can possibly come tomorrow afternoon, being Friday, and see if we can't get it wrapped up. Possibly part of next week's video. I'm not sure. Comment down below. Would you like to see the box finished, or would you like to get back to Mazda content? So, speaking of Mazda content, see what's missing up there? The wiring harness is missing. So I told y'all I was going to be doing some Mazda content. Let me turn my fan off here. My heater. And we worked on it. So unfortunately, this boot has split. I'll have to figure out something with that. I was able to keep the harness without cutting it. Oh, I'm stepping on my fender there. And I used another grommet off another harness that I had. Cut it, made a pass through to go into the fender. But now we have access to get this part done. And I messed up when I made this one. I didn't make it wide enough, so you see there's a gap in the back. So I'm going to have to make this panel again. Unfortunately, I do not have enough metal to do it. But I've got the wire tucked underneath the radiator, which is where it goes from the factory. And so the only other harness you see is this over here. And I actually made that panel for those to mount to. I made this panel for the fuse block to mount to. All those wires have to get cleaned up. It's all just kind of pushed in there. I'm going to take it all out to be able to paint the inner fenders once I get that done. So I'm not too worried about it being perfect right now. I'll definitely have to fight it a little bit later. I hate wiring. Hate wiring. I hate to say hate, but I hate wiring. But anyway, make sure to stick to the end of the video. Monday I posted on my Facebook page, Motivation Monday, what are you working on? And I told everybody to take the top 5 liked comments from that post and put them in this week's video. So make sure to stick around and see who made it. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. If you did, comment down below. Let me know if you appreciate being in the videos, or that you don't want to be in the videos, or whatever you want. Just make sure and comment. That helps the channel. I want to say thank you guys very much for being here. It really does mean a lot to have you guys follow along in my little garage doing my little piddly stuff, playing around. Thank you very much for being here, and we'll make sure and catch you on the next one. This week's video done. I feel like I'm being watched. Surely I don't see anybody in here. Maybe they're not here this week. That'd be good. I get so caught up with being seen or whatever after videos are over. But wait a minute. Are you kidding me? You're hiding over there by the fridge? Wow. I knew it. I knew you would. I knew you couldn't leave. That's okay. Hey, stick around. Check out the, we'll call this like the Reader's Ride section. Check out the people that commented on my Facebook page. Thank you guys for being there and commenting. I do appreciate it. Catch you on the next one.